Hey boys and girls, today we're going to do a little bit more review with solving for one step, and we're going to extend to solve for two-step equations. So let's just review. Before you learn how to solve equations, you need to review the inverse operations. Again, inverse means opposite. The inverse operation for addition is subtraction. The inverse operation of subtraction is addition. And the inverse operation for multiplication is division. And the inverse operation for division is multiplication. Now, in these examples, I'm going to show you another form of vocabulary that you might hear people say when we solve these equations. Let's look at this example. It says step 1, isolate the variable. This word isolate means to leave alone. So isolate means to leave alone the x on one side of the equal sign so that the equation can read x equals a value. That in turn will give you the value of the variable. In order to do that, you have to apply the inverse operation. So the inverse operation of division is multiplication. So you're going to multiply both sides by 6. 18 times 6 equals 108. Therefore, your expression reads, after you've isolated your variable or you've canceled out that divide by 6, you should get x equals 108. You can then plug that in order to see and check your answers. That's illustrated down here below. So what they did was they used substitution to plug in 108 for x. So they thought, is it true that 108 divided by 6 is equal to 18? If you take the time to check your answers, you can guarantee that you have the correct answers. In math, there's only one answer. So, because I did that and I checked my answer, I knew that I was correct in my thinking. Go ahead and solve numbers 1 through 4 and pause the video. After you've done solved them as well as checked them down here in this section below, you can press play again to check your answers. Check your answers and see what you got for the value of the variable in numbers 1 through 4. If you have any questions about how we got one of these answers, please comment on Google Classroom and I will get back to you. I have some great news that I want to share with you guys. If you guys are confident in solving one-step expressions, then you can solve two-step expressions. The only difference is that instead of getting to the value of your variable by just doing one operation, you're going to do two. So let's look at my example problem that I have here. I have 3x minus 4 is equal to 41. I'm going to follow the exact same steps in order to isolate my variable. In this case, you want to do the reverse order of operations. When it's a one-step problem, you don't have to worry about the order that you solve it in. But when you have a two-step expression, you want to take your order of operations, which we remember as PEMDAS, and we want to actually work the opposite way. Because when you think about it, we're going to be doing the inverse operations. Basically, we're doing everything backwards. So in the expression 3x minus 4, what I would normally solve first would be multiplication. So when I'm going to be reversing that in order to solve for the variable, I want to get rid of this subtraction first. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Well, now I've got a new expression. When I add 4 to 41, I'm left with 3x on the left-hand side of my equal sign, but I now have a value of 45 on the right. All I have to do now is solve a one-step expression. All I have left to do is divide both sides by 3, therefore canceling out my coefficient. 45 divided by 3 equals 15. Therefore, my variable of x has a value of 15 in this expression. Again, I can take it down below and I can check my answers using substitution. So I can see, is it true that 3 times 15 minus 4 equals 41? So I solve using order of operations. 3 times 15 equals 45. 45 minus 4 equals 41. Therefore, I know that I have solved the problem correctly. Go ahead and try solving 1 through 4 on your own. Remember, these are now two-step equations. All you have to do is follow order of operations in reverse order in order to isolate the variable or solve for the variable. After you've solved for 1 through 4, you can press play again to check your answers. Alrighty, go ahead and check your answers for 1 through 4. If you have any questions about how I got to one of those answers, please make a comment on Google Classroom and I will get back to you. Great news, guys. You can now do algebra. When you can solve for variables, you can solve algebraic expressions, therefore conquering half of what algebra is.